Welcome back to Press Review. Let's start by taking a look at today's front pages in the Middle East. Starting from Beirut, the Daily Star reports that the House Speaker Nabih Berri has called for a parliament session next week to elect a new president, the ninth attempt in less than 4 months. The paper also reports that state-owned Électricité du Liban has proposed an increase in tariffs to boost power supply by 2 hours across Lebanon without increasing an annual deficit hovering around $2 billion. From Cairo, the Egypt Independent reports that a spokesperson from Hamas said the group has officially told Egypt that it rejects an Egyptian proposed Gaza ceasefire. The paper also reports that Prosecutor General Hisham Barakat has referred 163 defendants to the Alexandria Criminal Court in the event known as the Sidi Bishr massacre that claimed the lives of 29 civilians and attempted to murder 3 others. He also ordered the arrest of 5 other fugitive suspects. From Saudi Arabia, the Arab News reports that King Abdullah has approved the allocation of 4.5 billion Saudi riyals to build an expressway between Qasim and Mecca, with services facilities along the road. The paper also reports that a Saudi mufti with the Islamic State has been reportedly killed in Iraq by the country's armed forces. And from the UAE, the Gulf News reports that the UAE will send an unmanned spacecraft to Mars by 2021, making it the first Arab country and the 9th nation in the world to make the 60 million kilometer journey. The paper also reports that 4 children were killed and several injured at the beach yesterday as hundreds of Palestinian families fled as Israel intensified airstrikes following failed Egyptian ceasefire efforts. Iran's Tehran Times reports that Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, who was sworn in for a new term yesterday, said Western and Arab states that have supported terrorism will pay a high price and that he would fight insurgents until security was restored to the whole country. The paper also reports that Iraqi forces withdrew from the militant-held northern Iraqi city of Tikrit after a new push to retake the city met heavy resistance. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East news from papers in the UK. The Guardian leads Middle East news reporting that Nick Clegg has come close to accusing Israel of breaching international law after he said its response to the Hamas rocket attacks from Gaza was deliberately disproportionate. The paper says, in a marked contrast with David Cameron, who has moderated his criticism of Israel, the Deputy Prime Minister accused Israel of imposing a disproportionate form of collective punishment on citizens in Gaza. The Daily Mirror reports that 4 Palestinian boys playing on a beach in Gaza were killed by shells fired from an Israeli ship. The paper says the dead were cousins, aged between 9 and 11, with the Israeli government saying that shells were aimed at a legitimate target near the 4 boys and promised an investigation. The Independent reports that Mark Regev, a spokesperson for the Israeli government, has said its military does not target civilians in airstrikes the day after 4 children were killed whilst playing on a Gaza beach. The paper adds that when Mr. Regev appeared on Channel 4 News to discuss the conflict and was asked how killing children on a beach contributed to the Operation Protective Edge's stated purpose of protecting Israeli civilians, he simply responded, "It doesn't." Now let's take a look at the top Middle East news from international papers. The International New York Times leads reporting that even as Israel and Hamas agreed to suspend hostilities briefly on Thursday at the request of the United Nations, a senior Israeli military official said that his government was increasingly likely to order a ground invasion of the Gaza Strip that it had hoped to avoid. From Germany, the Deutsche Welle reports that Syrian refugees struggling to survive in Turkey see little choice but to cross back into territory controlled by hardline Islamists and swearing allegiance to the ISIS, which has become the next option. And finally, China's Global Times reports that Iraqi forces have withdrawn from the militant-held city of Tikrit after their new offensive met heavy resistance in a blow to the government effort to push back Sunni insurgents controlling large parts of the country. According to the paper, the failure highlights the difficulties of Baghdad's struggle to recapture territory from the insurgents. That was it for today. For more updates, visit our website levant.tv. Thanks for watching Press Review. Be sure to join us again tomorrow, and bye for now.